lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, the AllProSim Winter Challenge Series is about to begin a beatdown at the key to the Blue Ridge. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to North Wilkesboro Speedway, one of our sport's most hallowed grounds. The greatest names in NASCAR, such as Petty, Waltrip, Allison, Earnhardt, and Gordon, have hoisted trophies in victory lane here. Now tonight, one of our AllProSim late model drivers looks to etch their name in the history book. Last week when we saw a great race in Bakersfield, where we saw Derek Kraus capture the checkered flag while Alex Papini went from 3rd to 16th at the hands of a last lap wreck. Can Papini recover and celebrate in victory lane tonight? Driving with a vengeance? Stay right here to see as we open up the America's Auto Auction 125 presented by Baja. I'm Dave Riegel here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, where I'll be with you every step of the way. From the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, glad to have all of you with us tonight as, of course, an exciting night here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Of course, as I had mentioned a moment ago, one of the most exciting places in all of NASCAR. Of course, a lot of history locked up in what I'd like to playfully call this old track, kind of like this old house. As qualifying is underway, we see Caleb Adrian just out on his warm-up lap, negative half lap, so obviously things going to have to get settled in for Caleb as he's going to reset and regroup himself here on pit road. Take a look right now at Tanner Berg, who is out here in qualifying trim, driving the number 35. He's got that goat paint scheme on there tonight, as he's going to wrap up on pole position. Tristan Swanson right now in the 91 from Newmarket, Minnesota. Super late model driver and winner of the 2021 Midwest Truck Series champion and Rookie of the Year, multiple legend car wins and championships, as he crosses the start-finish line, going 5th fastest. Christopher Rogers in the 00. He's going to wrap up his qualifying effort in 15th. Of course, as always, we've got some heat racing tonight, which I know is exciting for so many of us. 28 cars going to go to the feature. 20 are going to reach it via qualifying. While those 20 drivers rest themselves, the top 3 in each of the 2 heat races are going to go to the feature as well. And then, of course, a consolation race, a last chance qualifier, if you will. The top 2 in that race will go to the feature, making up our 28-car feature field. The feature tonight going to be 125 laps here at North Wilkesboro Speedway, and that top 10 will be inverted. So we'll get to see some of those drivers have to, fight their way through what is usually a pretty rough, overall, a pretty rough set of traffic laws and rules as they pile through the field. Pull up our beautiful beam footage here of our race information. 83 degrees in the stands tonight if you're here in North Wilkesboro drinking that sun drop, which of course was a favorite of the Intimidator Dale Earnhardt Sr. And of course, according to Dale Jr., High Rock Vodka and Sundrop make a pretty good combination. Track temperature, though, right now during qualifying, 120 degrees on this half mile, and my God, that is blistering temperatures on the track. So busy night here tonight as qualifying looks like it's basically wrapped up. About 5 minutes of qualifying every night here. Ty Fredrickson just wrapping up his effort in 11th. Right now on the bubble would be DJ Smith if Tyler Jackson, Carter Stark, Cody Brusso, Michael Weissman, Ryan Latch, or Josh Nelms decide to qualify. We'll see if maybe they make a decision tonight. Glad to have everybody in with us. Thank you for making Sim Racing Media a part of your evening here on SRM. As I see several of you starting to log into the YouTube.com feed. Let us know here in the YouTube.com live chat who you're pulling for, who you're looking to be successful tonight, as looks like qualifying going to be pretty calm and collected, if you will. Race control deeming qualifying ending as they've had a great turnout. 43 drivers with a qualifying effort. That leaves 6 drivers not having laid down a qualifying time. So 49 drivers in the session tonight. And Ryan Latch, one of our series regulars, not qualifying in the 018. A few other drivers, Josh Nelms as well, a regular here in the series, not in qualifying. Going to split into 2 heats and take the top 3 out of those heats, as I had mentioned before, and then the LCQ will be taking the top 2 there in the Consi race. So, this is almost like, Friday Night Lights at your local dirt track, at your local short track, with asphalt. As it brings so much excitement here to the racetrack, and at a place, like this, it's hard to hold yourself back, so to speak. This is one of those racetracks where this is hallowed ground. Unfortunately, not having run a race here in the Cup Series since 1995, it was exciting to see everybody back for, of course, the All-Star race in 2023. It's scheduled to go again here in 2024. And I'll tell you, this is almost like a dream come true. I mean, quite literally, this was dreamt up by Dale Earnhardt Jr. and several other folks in the North Carolina area that, were able to get that state funding and some of the money together to get this racetrack reopened because, quite frankly, it's sad when you see some of these places, close their gates for that final time. It really breaks a broadcaster's heart when you don't get to see some of the competition that you always did. And at a place like this, we're so used to the door-to-door and, those hammers and tongs coming out late in the race. This track checks every box. I mean, I have yet to see a race at this track on the iRacing.com server that didn't end with a photo finish, especially in a feature race. So, folks, I know that we've got an exciting night of racing ahead of us as we get ready, of course, here for the America's Auto Auction 125 of Western Michigan, presented by Baja. Some last-minute instruction from race control, and I'll tell you what. When it comes to race control, first of all, probably the most thankless job in all of iRacing. I mean, for starters, this is to be in the race control booth, to be paying attention to so many different things on the racetrack. You've got to make a split-second decision. Is it this driver's fault? Is it that driver's fault? Is it a racing deal? Are penalties going to be assessed? Are they going to be lifted? There are so many fast decisions, and race control takes care of all of that. We see a lot of that in real life, of course, but there's an army of people watching all of the little things around a real-life race that we don't get to see here on iRacing, and mostly because it can only be handled by one or maybe two, maximum 3 people. Most of the time, race control is done by one person, so while we're sitting here enjoying the race, those people are up there, banging their heads against the desk trying to make a decision on what happened and who was at fault. So a tip of the cap to race control this evening here in the AllProSim Late Model Series. And, this league, for lack of a better term, has its stuff together. So many times on iRacing.com, we see a league that's just kind of cobbled together. It looks like it's being held together by duct tape and bubble gum. But this league, they keep it tight, they keep it straight, they keep it right. And, the guys who run this league absolutely deserve, some of your attention as we go through each evening. First heat starting to grid up now as we get ready to rock and roll here at North Wilkesboro. 13 laps. And keep in mind that under caution, those laps not going to count as we get lined up here. We want to take a peek at our starting lineup, if you will. Christopher Rogers and Clayton Story going to occupy row number 1. in the 00 and the 67. Here we go. Andrew McLaughlin still has yet to get in the car. He'll be in the 26 if he decides to hop on in. Aaron Hicks in the 44 being scored, well, currently in the 039 being scored as the 44. Going to be starting on the outside of row number 2. Row 3, going to be Jaden Dahlberg and Evan Leahy. Carter Nilsson in the 4, joined by Brian Sire-Keski. Gleason Smith and Rick Ward starting 10th and 11th, while Kurt Clevin going to be starting shotgun on the field tonight in the 51. So 12 cars going to take the green flag, only 3 going to advance to the features. The iRacing.com pace truck leads us down the backstretch and into turns 3 and 4, past the Holly Farms logo there. And of course, that old-timey manual scoreboard, of course, still used today, even in our current climate as far as technology goes. And I'll tell you what, you go to places like a place like Fenway Park, and the manual mechanical scoreboard, fascinates you. And at a place like just here at North Wilkesboro, it's the same way. This could be considered the Fenway of NASCAR, especially at its age in our sport. So Christopher Rogers going to have control of the field as we make our way down the backstretch. He's going to have control. He's holding himself nice and steady here. The green flag waves and we're underway. Christopher Rogers off to a healthy start here, about 0.3 of a second and more over Andrew McLaughlin and Clayton Story. Clayton Story, your driver on the bubble right now in that number 67 pit stop machine. He's about to be harassed, though, by the 118 of Evan Leahy, who's working the low side here underneath the 44 of Aaron Hicks. Hicks, of course, in that 039 being shoved out of the way right now. If we take a look here at the 118, just behind Hicks in the 118, battling it out for 4th position, swapping those positions, while meanwhile that's opening the door for Story, McLaughlin, and Rogers to run away from this field. So it's going to be interesting here as we are side by side with 9 laps to go to see what happens next. Jaden Dahlberg, who had a rough race a couple of weeks ago, is back in gear, and all of a sudden that 036 starting to come alive here with 8 to go now, as all of a sudden Aaron Hicks diving to the inside of the racetrack underneath. Wow! Making contact, there it is, and we're going to have our first caution of the evening. My goodness. Let's run that back and see exactly what might have happened. Oof. Let's see if we can maybe look back and try to figure out what might have caused this kind of thought process, if you will. As we look here, Hicks looking to the inside of the 18. He just gets tight going into 1 and tightens up a little too much, and through the grass we go. So Clayton Hicks going to be given that EOL for causing that one. We'll see if we can maybe take another look at this wolf. Definitely not the way he wanted to be. And we'll take one more look here. And we'll see if we can keep an eye on that. Of course, sometimes it's hard just for me to find some of these as we come in here. Let's see if we can get this dialed up one more time. There they are. Into the dirt we go. Everybody going to get double filed 2x2. Please get in the arc, says Noah. As Christopher Rogers going to have control of the field once again here on the low line. Bringing us down the back chute. The Lights on the pace truck are out with 5 laps to go here on SRM. Dave Riegel in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, bringing you all of the action here in the AllProSim Winter Challenge Series. The green flag flies and we're back underway. Christopher Rogers with a quick little connection issue here as we look just behind him. All of a sudden, that third position going to be contested now by David Boudris, as Boudris chasing down Clayton Story. Now Story trying to hold Boudris off, and we're going to have to start watching Brian Sire-Keski. As things are going to start to heat up here, you have to wonder to yourself whether or not it's worth wrecking the field. You have to remember that you've got that last chance qualifier race to try to race your way back in. As we're 2 to go, the popsicle sticks are in the air. I want to thank our sponsors, of course, America's Auto Auction of West Michigan and Baja. As the popsicle sticks go down, the white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers. Christopher Rogers has a commanding lead, 3/10 of a second over Clayton Story, as McLaughlin and Story are going to go side by side. At this point, you almost have to shake hands and say, listen, let's just get ourselves into that feature race as Christopher Rogers brings us off of the final turn. Crosses the start-finish line. It's going to be Rogers, Story, and McLaughlin transferring on to the next heat race. Getting ourselves ready here for the second heat race. Looks like Corey Rogers going to be in the number 17 on the pole position. He's going to be joined in the front row by Rob Nelson in the 99. Row 2 going to be featuring Ed Papineau and Randy Sargent, as Jeff Dillon and Ryan Smith going to be in row number 3. Seems like the 11 having a little bit of trouble getting going here. I don't know what's going on with Randy Sargent. The 61 getting a little antsy here. Not sure what's going on. This is going to cause quite an issue, as we can see the 11 just stuck in park. Randy Sargent stuck here in the middle of the racetrack. Pace truck going on by. There he goes. So now Randy Sargent's going to have to hustle around the racetrack. Michael Berner going to be starting in 5th position, followed by Kenneth Storkson. Christopher Reardon here in the 46, going to be starting in 8th position, while Michael Weissman in 9th. Carter Stark in 10th. Steve Wright in the in the 61, going to be starting 11th from Shelbyville, Michigan. Riley Stenyam in the double natural, starting 13th, and starting 14th now going to be Randy Sargent, unless he figures out how to get through here, as we're going to have to wait for iRacing to make the decision here and see who's going to go where. Ooh, a little bit of rub there. That was probably unnecessary. He didn't mean that, as that's going to put Sargent on the outside of row number 2. Corey Rogers going to have control of the field as the iRacing.com pace truck lights are out. That means we'll be going green flag racing this time by 12 laps to go here, as this heat is getting cranked up now for number 2. Corey Rogers sees the green flag in the air, hits the loud pedal, and we're underway. Corey Rogers getting a good jump over the rest of the field. Rob Nelson in the 99 in hot pursuit. But right now, the battle to watch is going to be Ed Papineau and Randy Sargent. Randy Sargent reporting that he was having a hardware issue at the beginning of this race, which caused him not to be able to grid up with everybody at the same time, kind of an issue. And then it looks like he's trying desperately to overcome as he's trying to chase down Ed Papineau in the 110. Let's ride along with him. Sargent looking to knife his way underneath Papineau, and Papineau able to hold a nicer line here as he gets in a little bit straighter. So Sargent not going to be able to overcome him, at least in 1 and 2 right now. 3 and 4, he's starting to lose a little bit of ground. We can see that gap opening up. Maybe he's got another shot here, or maybe he's going to have to be a little bit more patient. As wow, what a run he gets onto Papineau. All of a sudden, he looks right over. And side by side, he's going to go with Papineau. Randy Sargent trying to secure 3rd position away from the 110, all of a sudden being challenged by Jeff Dillon. Dillon taking away that exit momentum, working the high side. Of course, when you, a weird little checkup from the 11. That's going to put Jeff Dillon into 4th position as Ed Papineau sits on the bubble. Corey Rogers, though, running all by himself as if it's just a nice drive on a Monday evening after work, trying to relax himself and unwind after a long, hard day in the salt mines. But Jeff Dillon all of a sudden all over the rear bumper of Ed Papineau. Dillon trying to find his way around with 5 laps to go here under green in America's Auto Auction of Western Michigan, presented by Baja 125. We're thankful for these sponsors tonight. They make it possible for us to be on the air. See my Bubba out there watching tonight. That's my boy. Corey Rogers leading this race. Rob Nelson and Jeff Dillon. All of a sudden, Carter Stark has wrecked. We stay green. Steve Wright wrecking. Still staying green. 3 laps to go. Jeff Dillon securing away that position. We're going to have to see how Jeff Dillon got around Ed Papineau real fast. As we see Dillon just working the inside here. We see him knife his way here in turn 3, just underneath, and slips right around him like butter. Now with the white flag in the air, Corey Rogers all by his lonesome, leading Rob Nelson and Jeff Dillon, who, if all things considered, get back to the start-finish line nice and clean. They will be transferring over to the feature. Corey Rogers, Rob Nelson, and Jeff Dillon. Here they come as Dillon crosses the start-finish line. He will be the 3rd driver in the 2nd heat here to transfer over to that 125-lap feature. Last chance qualifier getting ready to grid up now as we see everybody sliding into their cars here. And in this last chance qualifier, it looks like Brian Sire-Keski and Ed Papineau would be sitting on the front row. Not sure where Ed Papineau is just yet. There he is, waiting for Brian Sire-Keski to slide in. David Boudris and Michael Berner. Let's get their driver information up here. I know that we've seen them, but here they go. Michael Berner in the 42 from Patchogue, New York, going to be starting in the 42. Row 3, Jaden Dahlberg and Randy Sargent, who was challenging heavily last time there in the 2nd heat, ready to rock and roll again. Carter Nilsson and Dylan Roberts make up row number 4, while Evan Leahy and Kenneth Storkson make up row number 5. Storkson out of Rockton, Illinois, Rick Ward and Riley Stenyam in the double natural going to be in row number 6, as row number 7 going to be Michael Weissman and Gleason Smith. Steve Wright and Kirk Clevin going to be starting in row number 8, while Christopher Reardon and Ryan Smith make up row 9. Starting 19th in the field going to be Aaron Hicks in the 039, and Carter Stark starting shotgun on the field. I'm sorry, Kenneth Storkson going to be starting shotgun on the field in the 57. Once again, welcoming everybody into our YouTube.com live chat. Glad to have everybody with us this evening. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. As the iRacing.com pace truck lights are out, we'll be going green flag racing here in the last chance qualifier. Waiting for the green flag to fly as the iRacing.com pace truck gets ready to make that hard left turn down pit road. The green flag waves and we're underway. Last chance qualifier, 12 laps on the docket as Brian Sire-Keski decides he wants to... Oh, the 49 already making contact. Oh, no. That's suddenly going to change some things here. We're going to see if we can find David Boudris. As all of a sudden, things have gotten real hairy. We'll have to run this back once again and see maybe this is going to come out of the 036. That's Jaden Dahlberg. We'll see right here off his nose exactly what just happened. Looks like he just got a run and beat the bejesus out of the bumper of the 49. That's David Boudris. Boudris not going to be happy with that. And of course, we're always, keeping an eye on those kind of things here. As we look for Boudris, we're going to see from his perspective what just happened. Definitely not something that Boudris wanted to see, that's for sure. And we'll see if we can maybe get another look here at turn number 2 as we see the cars coming through here. And as you can see, all of these cars just going to be collected. And it is rush hour on the Schuylkill Expressway. Green flag back out in the air. Brian Sire-Keski gets a jump. Ed Papineau in hot pursuit with Michael Berner running in third. Randy Sargent looking to the rear bumper as the caution is back out. Maybe to get the field reshuffled here. Drivers being warned not to jump the start as we get ready to go back underway here. Brian Sierkeski, Ed Papineau, and Michael Berner going to be your top three when we get ready to fire off again. Pace truck looking for that all-important entrance to pit road, and we're going to see that in just a moment as the restart is on the leader as we are back green flag racing. Keski and Papineau running away from the field, but Berner going to have to start holding off some angry Hornets behind him as it looks like Sargent and Stenham are going to go at it. Stenham here in the double natural. I'm sorry, Sargent in the 11, Stenham in the double natural. My goodness, all of a sudden, Michael Berner under pressure from Randy Sargent as Sargent working his way past Berner. Berner, the 42 Hooters machine, trying to hold him off, and it looks like Sargent may get the best of him this time around here on exit of 4 as they cross the start-finish line. The popsicle sticks are in the air. We're 2 to go and 3 wide going into turn number 1. They hold it together. What an incredible feat of driving. Stenham, though, going to be the victor this time around. They're still 3 wide going to turns 3 and 4. The 11 of Randy Sargent just beat out. A caution coming out here as Jaden Dahlberg crashed. It should have been the checkered flag. Let's see what happened with Dahlberg. And it looked like the 61 and the 36 just got together, which brought out this caution. Of course, that's going to trigger NASCAR overtime for the last chance qualifier. Looks like the iRacing.com pace truck lights are out. So just waiting to see what the determination is here. Everybody's got to get doubled up before we go back green flag racing. It's going to be Keski and Papineau in the front row with Sargent and Roberts in the 41 in row number 2. So I'll tell you what, I'm guessing with Randy Sargent here on the inside, we're going to see him drive the wheels off of that number 11. As we get ready to refire, the pace truck drives down pit road, and we're back underway. The 81 getting to jump over the rest of the field. He's going to drag along Papineau. As Sargent and Papineau make contact, they spin onto the infield. And that cycles Dylan Roberts and Carter. I'm waiting to see what happens here, as that is the only green-white checker, so that's going to cycle Sierkeski and Dylan Roberts, your 1-2 here in the last chance qualifier. Maybe the 11 car getting a little too full of himself here late in this race, causing that one. Let's see if we can find that. Not sure if we can. As we will not have time to get that all found back out. While these drivers get themselves warmed up, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Apromitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back to North Wilkesboro Speedway, where tonight we get ready for the America's Auto Auction 125 presented by Baja here in the AllProSim Winter Challenge Series. Late model stock cars ready to rock and roll here around this half-mile track in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. As warm-up has completed, that means that we'll be getting ready to grid up here for our feature race. Feature is going to be 125 laps around this piece. So we're going to bring everything up and get that beautiful beam footage ready for you. Track temperature has cooled off to 104 degrees here, 82 in the stands. So obviously going to be good for many of these drivers, maybe a little bit more grip in the racetrack for them as we get ready to look at our starting lineup. Grayson Ward going to be sitting on the pole with Eric White in the 106, going to be on the outside of row number 1. Michael Ostiak scheduled to start on the inside of row number 2, joined by Caleb Adrian in the 29. Tristan Swanson and Alex Papini going to be featured in row number 3, while row number 4 made up of Tyler Muller and Anthony Donta. Willie Nelson and Tanner Bird going to be rounding out your top 10, while Ty Fredrickson and Brett McCoy start in the 6th row. Row number 7 going to feature Kelsey Rogers and Weston Ward in the number 5, while Jared Appel and Garrett Stracata going to be in row number 8. Row 9 going to feature Jeremy Bingham and Derek Kraus, who brought home the checkered flag last week out in California, while Scotty Gardner and DJ Smith make up your top 20. Christopher Rogers and Corey Rogers going to be sitting in row number 11, while row 12 going to have Clayton Story and Rob Nelson. Andrew McLaughlin and Jeff Dillon going to be here in row number 13, while Brian Sire-Keski should be starting on the inside of row number 14, while Dylan Roberts starts shotgun on the field. We should have 28 cars starting and taking the green flag this time around, as we're waiting for Garrett Stracata and Brian Sire-Keski to get in their machines, their late model stock cars, as they do. So as promised, 28 cars going to take the green flag this time around here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Of course, former home to the Winston Cup Series, now the NASCAR Cup Series. That great Coca-Cola Classic advertisement here right on the inside of the straightaway wall, on the front straightaway wall. Maybe a little bit of a throwback, but on the entry to pit road, a First Union flag. First Union, of course, pretty famous bank back in the 90s. Of course, was once then absorbed by Wachovia and then became Wells Fargo. Here in Pennsylvania, we had Meridian Bank, Core States, First Union, Wachovia, Wells Fargo, and that's where we sit today. Of course, Wells Fargo, the title sponsor of the Wells Fargo Center in South Philadelphia, where the Philadelphia 76ers and Flyers play. 41 of their regular season home games. Eric White and Grayson Ward going to have control of the field. Grayson Ward in the 9 car will be scored as the 33 when we get underway. The green flag is out. Grab some popcorn, call a friend, settle in, because we're green flag racing at North Wilkesboro. Grayson Ward getting a good jump over the rest of the field, while Michael Ostiak going to be in hot pursuit. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, everybody else trying to get single file and maybe start to work on one another one at a time. Taking a look at Tyler Muller here in the 78. He's just behind Eric White. In the 91, we see Tristan Swanson trying to hold off White as well. So this little 3-car pack maybe going to start to spell a little bit of TROUBLE as we work through the hills here of North Carolina. We roll out of turn number 4, and we're keeping an eye on Tanner Berg, as Tanner here in the 35 machine trying desperately to hold on to 9th position here. He's had a good season so far. He's looking to try to maybe, a little bit of contact between the 35 and the 29. No harm, no foul, just a little bump and banging. As Darrell Waltrip would say, rubbing is racing. As now all of a sudden, it looks like the 35 gets held on the high side. And Willie Nelson going to be starting to sniff that rear bumper. While Berg is starting to look at that rear of Caleb Adrian. Adrian holding him off though right now, as they are 2x2 in front of him. That's the 106 of Eric White, scored as the painted as the 6. As it looks like maybe things are starting to calm down here. Drivers starting to go single file, as we've already ripped off 6 laps this evening. Grayson Ward with a with a 2/10 of a second lead over Michael Ostiak. I want to welcome everybody into the YouTube.com live chat. Let us know who you're pulling for tonight. Of course, are you looking for Grayson Ward to bring home the checkered flag? Do you think Michael Ostiak can do it? Or does Alex Papini, racing with a vengeance this week, finally get that checkered flag that he has been chasing so hot and heavy all night or all year long? The 25 of Willie Nelson shuffling back down to 11th position. He's down 2 from where he had started. The biggest mover of the night right now is Derek Kraus, our winner last week in the feature. Out in Bakersfield, California, we're taking a look right now at Ty Fredrickson, who's a little 4-car piece of mayhem here, as he holds the high line. And maybe he's looking to try to cut the nose off of the 25, but it's a little early. Wow. As all of a sudden we go from single file to 2x2, please. Down the backstretch, 3 wide. This spells trouble. If they can hold this together, I'll be impressed. As they go 3 wide down the front stretch and into turn number 1. That's Eric White, Tristan Swanson, and Ty Fredrickson. And they make contact. All of a sudden, the 29 of Caleb Adrian gets sent down the racetrack. As they are still 3 wide racing right now, Willie Nelson has got to have white knuckles, as he was just the meat in that sandwich. And as the late, great Tony Trapasso would say, the last thing you want to hear from that spotter is 3 wide, you're the meat. Still keeping an eye on this little breakaway. Oh, all of a sudden the 29 goes around. And that will do it for the 29. My goodness. Let's see what happened here. And we'll see if we can maybe zoom in on him just a little bit. You have to bear with me here. And we may have a view from the chopper. And we can see the 136. It's Ty Fredrickson just catching. I'm sorry, that is not the one. That's Kelsey Rogers just having caught that. Let's see if we can run that back and catch just what happened, as it looks like she just caught that 29. So we'll ride here from the nose. And we see her. There's the 29. She comes down just a little much and barely catches that right rear, and here we go, a spinning down the front stretch. So Kelsey Rogers going to have to take a ride down pit road, get some repairs done. Grayson Ward still your race leader with 15 laps in the books already, with Michael Ostiak and Tyler Muller in tow. Alex Papini going to be starting on the outside of row number 2. Anthony Donta and Caleb Adrian just behind him. can always tell when it's time for a new pair of gym shorts when you got to adjust the old drawstring there. Grayson Ward going to be starting in P1 with Michael Ostiak on his outside. As we roll through turns 3 and 4, the iRacing.com pace truck makes the hard left turn down pit road. Ward takes the green flag and we're back underway. Grayson Ward trying to build that lead back up to where he had it, nearly a half second in that last green flag run, as we did just have our first caution for cause of the evening. Looks like just behind him here in the 5-10, Anthony Donta and Alex Papini getting the hammer and tongs out early, as Papini here in the 39 just trying to hold on, maybe save that equipment, not get himself beat up too early. As, we saw him so patiently last week, getting just hammered on the final lap, really all but in the final turn of that race out at Kent County Speedway. Take a look now at Weston Ward in the 51. I'm sorry, in the 5. He's got the 51 of Jared Appel just behind him. And it looks like maybe Weston thinking about putting his nose where it may not belong, as now we look up here to the 41 of Dylan Roberts. Roberts being scored in the 41 but driving the 26. As I may have to correct myself. As all of a sudden, Andrew McLaughlin working his way around him. They're side by side going into 3 and 4 as the 36 of Ty Fredrickson getting ready to harass Andrew McLaughlin. Some of these drivers still looking for some real estate on the track that maybe just isn't there. But a lot of single file racing as we go to our blimp cam. We can see many of these drivers. Here's Grayson Ward, Michael Ostiak, and then all of a sudden we go back here. I mean, after all of that mess, Caleb Adrian just gets himself right back up here as he's chasing down Anthony Donta in the 5-10. And I got to be honest, folks, this may not be a bad place for Caleb Adrian as he's looking to try to get around Donta, as he and Donta seem to be just absolutely matching one another step for step, turn for turn. Here at North Wilkesboro, you're watching the America's Auto Auction of Western Michigan, presented by Baja 125, live on Sim Racing Media. Dave Riegel in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth as Grayson Ward leads us back to the start-finish line. We are under caution once again, and this time it may be caused by Jared Appel. Let's take a look as Appel in the 151 just doesn't seem real. It's almost like he was a little unsettled. And boom, whoa, and he just collected somebody, and I couldn't see who that was. Let's run that back and see who that might have been. Looks like it could be the 99 of Rob Nelson. And there's Nelson down below, just barely getting out of the line of fire. Going to be Grayson Ward, Michael Ostiak, and Alex Papini, your top three, as we take a look at those machines. Less than 100 laps to go now as we're working lap 28 of 125. Under caution here for the second time this evening at North Wilkesboro Speedway. It's been a busy night so far here on the racetrack. Not a whole lot of drivers giving themselves a whole lot of room as we come back down into 1 and 2 under caution yet again. As many of these drivers, you know, it seems like when that green flag flies that they don't realize that they don't have to be double file anymore. They stay double file, and in a couple of cases in that last run, or 2 runs ago, we saw some 3-wide action. As the iRacing.com pace truck lights turn off. Working lap number 30 will be at 29 will be at lap 29. I'm sorry, 31. Apparently I can't math very well tonight, but we'll be working lap 31 when the green flag flies, so make sure that you strap up that 5-point safety harness. Pace truck makes the left turn down pit road, and we're back underway. Ward and Ostiak battling it out with the lead as Ostiak coming to the outside now of Ward. Looks like Ostiak trying to get himself some momentum here, swinging out here, wow, of turn 4, and the caution flag is out. Looks like Keski at fault this time around. Let's see what happened with Brian Sire Keski. Oof. He makes contact with the 52 of Jeff Dillon, and just at the very end of the field, so it doesn't take that many cars out of the way. But our 3rd caution of the evening here in the America's Auto Auction of Western Michigan, presented by Baja 125. In the AllProSim Winter Challenge Series, right here on Sim Racing Media. Of course, glad to have you in with us tonight here in our Norristown, Pennsylvania studios, the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, if you will. When we go back, green flag racing going to be Grayson Ward, Michael Ostiak, Alex Papini, Tyler Muller, Caleb Adrian, Anthony Donta, Eric White, Tanner Berg, Jeremy Bingham, DJ Smith now going down pit road. So Dylan Roberts going to make up your top 10. Very fortunate to be with you this week without any snow falling from the sky here in southeastern Pennsylvania. Had a couple of snowstorms last week, and I gotta admit, you know, it looks nice, you know, for a postcard or for a portrait, but man, when you've got to be out there shoveling it, removing it, it's not near as much fun. Bruce Cox, 6318, saying Nathan Meadows. Nice, and I don't see Nathan Meadows in our standings, so I'm not sure, Bruce, what you're watching there. We're going to have a single file restart. The green flag waves. Ward gets underway as Grayson takes off. He's already got a good lead, 0.2 of a second over Michael Ostiak. Ostiak leading Alex Papini. As just behind them, trouble is a brewing. Take a look at Anthony Donta in the 510, getting a run right now on the 29 of Caleb Adrian, while Eric White is starting to move in ever so gently. Looks like Donta has found himself a nice, calm place on the racetrack for the time being. Maybe trying to think about, let's get some laps in. 41 in the books right now. You know, get yourself settled in there. You've still got 80 laps and then some to go, about 85 to go. So more than double what you've already run. Maybe it's time to take care of some of this equipment, not beat the bejesus out of the cars. As Grayson Ward starting to be challenged now by Michael Ostiak for the lead, as Ostiak getting a run on him on the entry to turn number 3. Let's see if he can continue getting a run on him in the entry. He does, nearly making contact with that left rear quarter panel. Keeping an eye on Grayson Ward as Ostiak starts to try to get a run on him. We go down the front stretch and into 1 and 2 as Ostiak maybe takes a little bit of a more wide entry into 1. He rolls out of 2, though, with plenty of speed just behind Ward. But Ward getting a little bit of a run going into 3 this time by. When you look further back in the field, we can see Anthony Donta and Caleb Adrian getting ready to go at it. Adrian here in the 29, already affected by Kelsey Rogers earlier in the race. He is just behind Tyler Muller. As now Muller starts to get ready to work over Alex Papini. Papini just trying to hold it between the navigational beacons. Your big mover of the night right now, Dylan Roberts, after starting 28th, now running in 10th position. So obviously he has had to fight through a lot of traffic this evening. 49 laps in the books, just about 76 to go as Tyler Muller is starting to run all by his lonesome. We can see right here in the blimp that these drivers are going single file, maybe getting ready to start, let's just say, you know, working one another over piece by piece. We see a little bit of a knot here led by Christopher Rogers in the 00, led by Jeff Dillon now, as Dillon can see nothing but Christopher Rogers and Willie Nelson battling it out behind him. Nelson on the low side of Rogers gives him a little bit of a bump, maybe a run here, so the old bump and run works out for the 00. As now they've gone single file. So, you know, a lot of these drivers, you know, we're going to start to see, especially after learning everything that we did last week over in Bakersfield, you know, how to keep these cars clean and how to get to the end of the race. Because, I mean, you know, here's the thing. You can beat the fenders in, you can beat the nose in, but eventually that car is going to pop. And, you know, with a race of this length, no, it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but, you know, here you are all of a sudden looking at, well, maybe I can get a top 3, maybe a top 5. You know, where Alex Papini last week, due to some over-aggressive driving on that last lap, went from 3rd to 16th. So a lot can happen by just a little bit of contact. And of course, Kelsey Rogers finding that out earlier with the 29 of Caleb Adrian. Tyler Muller starting to creep in slowly but surely on Alex Papini, as Papini trying to hold him off. We'll see right here from Tyler Muller's perspective what he sees just behind Papini. Maybe he's trying to match this step for step. He's able to hold that low line a little bit longer. Let's see if he can dagger his way here. And he does get some good rotation coming out of 3 and into 4. So maybe he's figured this one out. He starts to see the way that gap shrinks between himself and Alex Papini. Grayson Ward now opening up more than a half-second lead over Michael Ostiak. Ostiak over Papini by about 0.4 of a second. So you can pretty much throw a blanket over the top 2 here, as they're going to be a non-factor moving forward, at least for the time being. Here on lap number 58, I'm Dave Riegel. This is the America's Auto Auction of Western Michigan 125, presented by Baja, right here on Sim Racing Media. Glad to have you with us tonight. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. As I say that, I will step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here at North Wilkesboro, looks like Dylan Roberts brought out this caution here, as this is caution number 4 of the evening, just about at the halfway mark. Let's see what happened with Dylan Roberts. Roberts in the 41 gives a little bit of gets a little bit of a wall rub, sends the 78 into the wall. I'm sorry, that is Dylan Roberts. Of course, he's just not in the right pit color. Wholesale pit stops underway now as Grayson Ward comes down pit road, followed by just about everybody else on the lead lap. The car just slowly being cranked up to get these 4 tires changed. Dylan Roberts now coming down pit road. Garrett Stracata being cycled here to the race lead. He last came down lap number 14. He'll be followed by Andrew McLaughlin and DJ Smith. And of course, McLaughlin hasn't been down pit road at all. DJ Smith coming down on 34. And then Michael Ostiak, Tyler Muller, Alex Papini, Jeremy Bingham, Caleb Adrian, Anthony Donta, and Tanner Berg, your remaining top 10. So I have to imagine that if you're DJ Smith, Andrew McLaughlin, or Garrett Stracata, that you're looking in that rearview mirror thinking, I am in some deep trouble. As we can see, the iRacing.com pace truck lights are out. That means we'll be going back green flag racing this time by as Stricata and DJ Smith, Stricata and McLaughlin going to have control of the field. It looks like it's going to be the 177 of Stricata that's going to have control. We roll out of turn 4. The man in the stand has a green flag in his hand, and we're back underway. Garrett Stricata trying to get himself ahead of the game as literally as early as he can. He's going to get a jump over Michael Ostiak and Andrew McLaughlin. McLaughlin hanging on back there, but probably going to start to hemorrhage spaces.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Apromitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to North Wilkesboro. We're under caution. Rob Nelson in the 99 just seems like he suddenly forgot where he was supposed to be. And out of nowhere, just cut the nose off the 67 and the 36. Not sure what caused that. But what brought the caution out initially was Jeremy Bingham. And we'll see Bingham yet again right here as we can go right into his cockpit. If we can find that. See if we can go right to the roll bar. And we're going to see Jeremy Bingham. He sees the mess in front of him, can't get out of the way, and gets himself turned around. So Michael Ostiak still going to be your race leader ahead of Alex Papini and Anthony Donta. Caleb Adrian, Garrett Stracata, Tyler Muller, Tristan Swanson, Tanner Berg, Jeff Dillon, and Brett McCoy. Race Control making the announcement that with this being a single file restart, they will have one more shot at a double file restart. As this league, after 6 cautions, does start to go single file. 45 laps to go now. Race Control giving everybody a little bit of a heads up here as the restart gets ready to happen. Ostiak and Papini going to lead this piece. Papini going to be looking hard as we get ready to go back green flag racing. You see Papini here to the inside. Watch that rear end as it looks like it was almost over-rotating in 1 and 2. He's driving the wheels off of this thing. Oh my. As we can see right here, looking back at Papini is Michael Ostiak, and Papini looking to the inside, lap after lap after lap. And Papini holding his distance off, trying not to put too much pressure on Ostiak. Let Ostiak sweat it out a little bit. Further back in the field, taking a look at Garrett Stracata in the 177, and now to Tristan Swanson in the 91. Swanson starting to look at the rear bumper of Tyler Muller, considering his next move here in this chess match. And, when I say chess match, I mean, we're looking here at speeds in excess of 100 miles per hour, all but 114 into the corner. And Muller getting around Swanson, almost making contact as they are side by side, getting those fenders all kinds of rubbed. And down the back chute into turn number 3. We can see that speed on Tyler Muller as he goes down in there at 114 miles per hour into the corner, while Ostiak suddenly getting challenged even harder now by Alex Papini, who looks to the inside. Papini challenging our leader, Michael Ostiak, as they go fender to fender down the backstretch. Those window nets going to start to be fluttering in the wind as Anthony Donta going to work kind of as the spoiler here, not giving Ostiak any room to back off. So it's going to force these two drivers nearly to go door handle to door handle into 3 once again. And as they roll out of 4, looks like Alex Papini thinks he can get the brake on him, and he can't. And we are now side by side for the lead. We can see Papini maybe starting to overcook those tires and overheat them. They make contact once again coming out of 4, crossing the start-finish line here on lap number 92. As Papini finally starts to get the edge on Ostiak. Making contact once again. They're not going to wreck the field. These two drivers have been at each other's side now for several laps, and they've proven that they can battle one another without getting dirty. As Papini once again rolls out right now, it's Papini, Ostiak, and Donta, your top 3. As Donta facing a challenge in Caleb Adrian just behind this battle for the lead. As soon as Papini can, there we go, start to swing this bad boy out, we're going to start to see him set sail and start to put a little bit of distance between himself and Ostiak. Papini trying to open up that lead now of 0.2 of a second. Looks like we may finally have a little bit of a break in the action there atop this pile, while Caleb Adrian is trying to hold off Tyler Muller. Big mover of the night right now belongs to Jeff Dillon in the 52. He's up 17 positions, running in 9th right now. Jeremy Bingham would be the lucky dog Clayton Story would be the lucky dog to get a lap back. Of course, kind of an interesting gap there. Jeremy Bingham registering as having crashed as he comes into pit lane. Let's see what happens with Bingham here in the 6. He comes down the back chute. Whoa, brings himself sideways. And somehow the caution doesn't come out. He manages to tuck himself right into pit lane. Tyler Muller right on that rear bumper of Caleb Adrian in the 29. Adrian running in 4th position right now, trying to hold Muller off, who would have a top 5 finish. We've got 24 laps to go here at North Wilkesboro Speedway in the America's Auto Auction of Western Michigan 125 presented by Baja right here on Sim Racing Media. Watching this very closely as we start to see these cars moving into one another slowly but surely. All of a sudden, Tristan Swanson starting to look to that left rear quarter panel of the 78. To go here at North Wilkesboro. Alex Papini, your race leader, followed by Anthony Donta, Michael Ostiak, Caleb Adrian, and Tyler Muller in this battle for fifth, as Caleb Adrian challenging Tyler Muller for fourth position. This is the battle for the top five, as just behind Tristan Swanson waiting for someone to make a mistake. None yet, as all of a sudden the 78 gets a run on the 29 coming out of turn 2. All of a sudden he found that extra gear, he grabbed it, and he's starting to run with it. A little bit of a rub now from Caleb Adrian as Adrian hits that inside of Muller. And just behind Adrian, Tristan Swanson starting to sniff blood in the water, as all of a sudden we're going to see Tristan Swanson here start to try to make a move on Adrian. Basically the entire field single file now, which is probably a good thing for many of these drivers. That allows you to pick off one driver at a time. You know, it's great to try to get 2 or 3 spots at once, maybe on a restart. But, you know, at this stage in the race with 15 laps to go, you don't want to be the guy who wrecks the entire field. You don't want to be the driver who takes out the leader by accident. You know, I mean, right now, not a problem for Papini and Donta, as they've got about 2/10 of a second between them. And then all of a sudden you go back to nearly a second gap, so about 8/10 of a second between Donta and now Ostiak, as this battle for third and fourth is starting to heat up as they go fender to fender for third position. This is for the podium, as now it's Muller with the edge over Ostiak. Ostiak, formerly your race leader, now running in third, fourth position, as he battles it out now with Tyler Muller. Ostiak can't be happy with that kind of a performance, as he's sitting here desperately trying to claw this one out with 13 laps to go here at North Wilkesboro in the America's Auto Auction of Western Michigan 125 presented by Baja. Dave Regal in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth just outside the city of Brotherly Love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, here in our Norristown studios of SRM. And as I had mentioned, just about everybody's single file, so you know, that's going to calm things down. You know, before it was one of those cautions breed caution situations, but now we're at a point where these drivers are ready to finally race and get this thing on the road. With 10 laps to go, you almost have to think to yourself, is this what's left in the racetrack? Is this what I've got in the car? I mean, at this point, you've already made your stop. You've already filled up on fuel and gotten those fresh tires. Alex Papini, who got basically robbed out of third position last week, finally your race leader tonight. I got to be honest, I'm pulling for the young man tonight in Papini, because, I mean, you know, when you see somebody go from third to 16th, it's awful upsetting, and here we are under caution. Looks like something finally broke loose between Tristan Swanson and Caleb Adrian. We see crossing the start-finish line. Looks like Swanson, gets lifted out of the way by Adrian. We're going to watch right from Caleb Adrian's hood here as he's going to get a run. It's just enough to suddenly spin yourself around. This will be a single file restart when we go back green flag racing. Alex Papini, Anthony Donta, Michael Ostiak, Taylor Muller, Tanner Berg, Garrett Stracata, Jeff Dillon, Grayson Ward, Brett McCoy, and Caleb Adrian round out your top 10 after Adrian getting unfortunately lifted out of the way by Tristan Swanson a few moments ago. Of course, Swanson scurrying down pit road as he now has to get some repairs done to the 91. Five laps to go here. We may have a natural green-white checker when we come back to the green flag. As the iRacing.com pace truck brings us out of turn number 4, we should see those lights turn out this time by as we get the 1 to go signal from the man in the stand with the yellow flag in his hand. Alex Papini and Anthony Donta. This has been a great race tonight, and we don't want to see any dumb things happen. Is everything going to go single file? Single file coming back to green is Alex Papini down the backstretch one more time. 3 laps to go here at North Wilkesboro. Nobody thinking about laying back. Anthony Donta trying to figure out how he can slingshot his way around Papini. As the pace truck dives off and we're back underway. As we cross the start-finish line, popsicle sticks go in the air. We're 2 to go. Alex Papini, after being cheated out of a podium finish last week in Bakersfield, looks like he's going to try to bring home the checkered flag as he comes out of turn number 4. The popsicle sticks go down, the white flag waves, and we're racing back to checkers. Anthony Donta looking for any way to get around Papini as he has patiently laid that late model machine 3 wide to keep Donta and Ostiak behind him. And as we roll out of turn 4 this final time, Alex Papini, your winner here at North Wilkesboro in America's Auto Auction of Western Michigan 125, presented by Baja. As it's going to be Papini, Donta, and Ostiak making the podium. Just waiting for Alex Papini to slide in here to the Discord. And tonight we're going to go 3, 2, 1. Hey, Mike Ostiak, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Hey, man, listen, great run tonight. You weren't able to hold off Papini here at the end in this final run, but, I mean, what a strong car you had now. You wind up starting in third, finishing in third. Is that disappointing or encouraging?
Yeah, it was a good night. We actually qualified decent in the top 5, was able to, get to second and kind of ride. I was thinking that, hold on, just got to mute this session here. But yeah, no, overall it was a great night. Had a lot of fun. Felt like we got our pace down in that first session. Once we ended up battling for the lead on the high side there, that's when I felt like, we did burn up our stuff, and Alex and Anthony were definitely a lot faster than me after that. I definitely had to fight hard for that third place finish. So overall, I'm happy with it. Good points night. But yeah, thanks to John Alverson at Baja for the money. We came up a little short on that, but yeah, no, tonight was fun. It was a good night. Sorry, Dave, I don't hear you anymore if you're talking. Loud and clear. Yeah, just got to keep the nose clean. Last week we had a little bit of an unfortunate incident getting taken out trying to avoid a wreck, and I just need to put together these races and hopefully be there at the end for the points battle. But yeah, Hickory will be interesting. I'm sure there'll be a lot of racing incidents, if you will. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
All right, well, listen, congratulations on the P3 finish. Before we cut you loose, though, who do you need to thank for tonight?
Yeah, as always, just got to shout out my real-life sponsors, Red Fox Tavern, Chad Johnson, and the Minnesota Transplants, Bachman Industries, Gillen Enterprises, distributing Justice Brothers products, Pillar Properties, Weichert Realtors, Beach Kings Docks and Lifts, R&R Automotive, and I'm pretty sure Twin Cities Cannabis, of course. Got to make sure to shout them out as well. But yeah, those are the ones that help me get it done in real life and keep the fire going.
All right, my friend, well, listen, congratulations on the P3 finish tonight. We'll see you next week at Hickory. Next up on the dais is the driver, the number 510, Anthony Dante. Hey, Anthony, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me? Hey, Anthony, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
Now, you wound up trying to go for the win here. You wound up trying to get that lead wrestled away from Alex Papini. What was it like trying to get around him?
Yeah, he's tough to pass. Never had the opportunity to race him in real life, but I've seen him race, and he's the same in the game. He doesn't give you an inch, which is cool. And I took a shot. I knew I really didn't have much there, but I thought give it a go. And the last yellow kind of hurt me there. I was hoping we stayed green. I would have had maybe one more shot at him, but with that restart there with a couple laps left, it's kind of hard to make anything happen. But it was a clean race, hard racing, one of my favorite tracks, so I love coming here. And yeah, it was just a good race, solid day, no damage, solid points, and live to fight another day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be here at a place like this, you managed to stay out of, single file for most of this race. I mean, very limited cautions, plenty of room down there on the racetrack. Would you attribute that to the racetrack being wide enough for some extra room and rubbing, or is that just, driver skill?
Yeah, a couple things. We're halfway through the season now, so we've all raced with each other now multiple times, so we kind of know what each other's going to do. And this track does have a couple grooves. If someone gets under you, you can get the run outside, so you don't have to fight for the bottom as hard. So a couple things, but the biggest thing is just respect. And I feel like once we get to the top 5 or 6 guys when we're racing real hard. Everyone's going hard, but everyone respects each other enough to not just drive it in there and run into each other.
All right, my man. Well, listen, before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank for this week's run?
Yeah, like I say all the time, I got to thank the old lady who's upstairs wrangling the kids, getting them to sleep, and doing all that kind of stuff while I'm down here playing games. And Alex and Brett for putting everything on, and you doing the broadcast and giving us something cool to watch back on or have our family and friends look at.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations tonight on the P2 finish, and we'll see you next week at Hickory.
Yeah, you got some.
Appreciate
You got some beer money coming, Anthony. $25 for second. So beer's on you.
I appreciate it.
All righty. Look at that right there. Last but certainly not least, after being cheated out of the podium finish last week at Bakersfield, Alex Papini. Hey, Alex, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
How's it going, buddy?
Hey, man, listen, my heart broke for you last week after you got shuffled back to 16th in that last lap wreck. But, tonight you completely – I called it earlier on as we opened up tonight's broadcast. You drove with a vengeance. You had a lot of patience. And here you are in victory lane. How's it feel tonight?
Oh, it feels awesome. I said about a month before the season started when we decided to put the series on again that man, with some of the guys that are showing interest in this deal, I'm not sure if I'm going to win a race this week this year. I said there's some real heavy hitters in this deal. Derek Kraus that won last week had 3 or 4 top 10s in the NASCAR Xfinity Series last year, and there's a lot of great real life super late model drivers. Anthony Danta being one of them. He's a champion, and this feels good. Like you said, we really got screwed last week. It was a kind of a racing deal that happened, but man, going from 3rd to 16th on the last lap was hard to see. Fastest in practice, the car was good. On this track, I've always kind of had a knack for it. It's the same but different as a track back home, Jefferson Speedway. I kind of drive both corners the way I drive 1 and 2 at Jefferson, so it suits me a little bit. I've struggled with this new car this year. I'm not gonna lie. Group of guys here. There's 15 guys that could win the damn race every week. Very grateful for Rick Ward and America's Auto Auction from West Michigan for sponsoring the broadcast of this race. Thank you to Baja, our primary sponsor, John Alverson, for putting some money up for this race. It's cool to bring the check and the trophy back home to the car owner. And Frisch Signs, Coastline Surf Fishing, Power Source Race Engines, Neighbors Bar and Grill, Tim Sargent Heating and Cooling, Wiley Raceway, NASCAR Diecast, Sim Racing Media, the All-Pro Series, Louis Robinette and Matt Vadi that have carried this series for, 20-something years since the old NASCAR 03 game. Appreciate everybody. The cautions definitely fell our way tonight because there's a few times I thought we were headed the wrong direction. So.
Yeah, man. Listen, like I said, it was an incredible race tonight to watch you, patiently work your way up here, with that fire in your belly from last week was just incredible. It was a great race. And, you get to walk away with an extra $75. So that's always exciting, too, thanks to Baja and, of course, our primary sponsor tonight, America's Auto Auction of Western Michigan. And we can't be more thankful for them. So thank you, sir, and we'll see you next week at Hickory.
Yeah, hey, thanks for everything you do, Dave. You've been doing awesome this year, making it exciting to watch. Been on Wednesday would have been my dad's 64th birthday, so dedicate this one to him. And we're gonna go on to next week leading points, and unfortunately, we're gonna start at the back at this shit show at Hickory. So keep your eyes peeled on the 39 next week.
We absolutely will, and of course, a happy heavenly birthday there. So excellent, sir. And listen, thank you very much. I appreciate the kind words, and as always, we do nothing but strive for excellence here at SRM.
Yep, thank you, Dave. We'll see you next week. Hopefully right here on the broadcast, buddy.
All righty. Well, folks, another one in the books here in the AllProSim Winter Challenge Series, live here from North Wilkesboro Speedway. Glad to have everybody in with us tonight, and we want to extend our appreciation for everybody that watches and makes it worthwhile coming into the booth every Monday night. Of course, we want to take one final look at our results from tonight. Alex Papini brings home the checkered flag after being cheated out of, at least a podium finish last week in Bakersfield. He is joined on the podium by Anthony Donta and Michael Ostiak. Tyler Muller finishes in fourth, while Tanner Berg rounds out the top five. Garrett Stracata finishing in sixth, while Jeff Dillon, Grayson Ward, Caleb Adrian, and Brett McCoy round out your top 10. Forgive me, folks, a little bit of the hiccups here. Willie Nelson and Corey Rogers finished 11th and 12th, respectively, as Andrew McLaughlin and Christopher Rogers finished 13th and 14th. Tristan Swanson finishes in 15th, while 16th position goes to Clayton Story. Ty Fredrickson finishes in 17th, while Jeremy Bingham and DJ Smith finish in 18th and 19th. Weston Ward brings home the top 20 position here in the number 5 car, while Rob Nelson and Eric White come home in 21st and 22nd. Dylan Roberts and Brian Sire Keski come home in 23rd and 24th, while Scotty Gardner, Jared Appel, Kelsey Rogers, and Derek Kraus round out the remainder of the field. So, folks, another great night here in the AllProSim Winter Challenge Series. Another great night here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. And tomorrow, as you go through your day, remember, you're special, you're unique, and you're the only one like you. Good night, everybody.